Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are having a great Monday. We are here today. My name is Sharon Blackman, and I'm the Director of Training for Families Helping Families of Greater New Orleans. And we are one of 10 nonprofit resource centers in the Families Helping Families family across the state of Louisiana. And we're here to help you with special education and disability related topics all across the state. So we're doing a new thing today. This is our coffee break, and I hope you have your cup of coffee. We're all here with our coffee. And I have with me today our Director of Peer-to-Peer Support here at our center in Jefferson Parish, Laura Nata. And our topic is something that Laura says is the top complaint that you hear from parents right now. Laura, what would that be?
It is. What do you do if my child's school keeps calling me to pick up my child? I mean, that's what you hear all the time. I've been doing this 23 years and that hasn't changed. Same topic. So yeah, and right away it tells me that, something is wrong, and either the child does not have an IEP and needs one, or has an insufficient IEP, or clearly is not being followed. So it also tells me that child's having difficulties adjusting to school, experiencing a stressor, or maybe life changes. Since the pandemic, I notice anxiety in children is up, and it's definitely affected their education. It's very important for you to reach out to the school psychologist or even the counselor for ideas and solutions for the students right away.
So for what reasons might the school choose to send a child home?
Well, Sharon, I would love if the school would call and talk about how your child's progressing, how the child is a delight to have in the classroom, but unfortunately, that's not the calls that we get. So the only time that a child is sent home by school administrative staff, if the child is ill or maybe has been injured or a suspension. This should be the only, and this should be documented in the student school records.
So is it permitted for the school to call the parents to pick up their child?
Well, that depends on the situation. Your child has the right to attend school and can be kept away from school if they have been officially suspended. That's the word, the key word, officially suspended. The school should always try different interventions to help your child before resorting to a suspension or even having to call you to pick them up. Dismissing the child for cool-off time, as we hear constantly, it's not a positive intervention. So if the child is not sick and not in immediate danger to himself or others, there's not much they can do if a parent refuses to pick up their child from school.
So what should I be asking when the school calls me to come pick up my child?
Well, so if they call to pick up the child, the first thing you should be asking is this a behavioral call? Are you calling because my child is having behavioral issues? Is my child suspended? If the child is not officially suspended, then the child cannot be removed from the school administration. If the child is sick, I would be asking who determined the child's illness. Because I've seen where the children are being sent home and they're not ill. So make sure that you document reason for checking out on the student emergency card. So that would be considered an excuse.
Gotcha. Well, what are my child's rights when I'm called to pick them up due to some behavior?
So first of all, it's very important as a parent to understand your child's rights when the school requests to pick up your child due to behavioral. If your child has an IEP, there is a guidance from Federal Office of Special Programs, which is called OSAP, that defines disability discrimination as excluding or denying benefits based on the disability. And if your child has a 504 plan, you need to know about what Section 504, the Rehabilitation Act, and it does protect students with disabilities from discrimination. Also, we have the Louisiana law. There is the attendance requirement. Students must attend school from ages, it says on the website, 7 to 18, but remember, they just passed a law, ages 5 on up, or until the child graduates or leave high school, because remember, our kids can be in school to the age of 22. So students are required to attend school regularly and must attend at least 167 days to earn credit and be eligible for promotion to the next grade. Of course, there's the excused absence, okay? So as we know, students with disabilities are entitled to educational support and services that are absolutely designed especially to meet their unique needs. Again, if the school requests that you pick up your child, he or she has not been officially suspended, is not ill, the child has the right to remain in school. However, if you decide to pick up your child, that turns into a parent choice, and that will go against you. It probably will be documented as such. If the parent continues to pick up the child when called, the countdown begins as how much time the child has been out of school, and that would be, of course, on excuse, which accumulate to excessive absence. At that point, the school may refer you to FINS, Families in Needs of Services, which is a referral due to a complaint that the child is truant, ungovernable, a runaway, or that the guardian failed to comply with school-related responsibilities. And remember what I just said, failed to comply with school-related responsibilities. Well, that's even vice versa, because school can also fail to comply with related, responsibilities. So that's why you have to document everything. They are the intervention process aimed at preventing formal juvenile court involvement, therefore reducing the number of children you've lodged into the court system.
Well, then at this point, should the parent request a meeting?
Absolutely, Sharon. A meeting is required to bring change. That's the only way, that you're going to bring change, and to prevent future unnecessary removals. It is important to request an emergency IEP, or for those who have a 504 plan, the IAP, to address the behavioral issues related to the disability. Being out of school when a child is already struggling will lead to even more problems. If you do not identify and fix behavioral problems, they're just going to get worse. In addition, the unhappy child at school was just rewarded for acting out by going home, so expect this to continue. So what y'all need to do is to review that IEP or IAP for those who have a 504 plan, and you need to review that behavior intervention plan, the BIP. When there's new behaviors that are interfering with students' progress at school, a BIP should be done, or revise the current one if it seems like it's not working. If the child does not currently have a BIP, a behavior intervention plan, the team should consider conducting a functional behavioral assessment, which we call the FBA. It is a process for gathering the educators, gathering information about behaviors of concern, whether the behaviors are academic, social, or emotional, and that will follow by the IEP. The behavior intervention plan is the plan that the educators will have to follow and work with. So what y'all need to do is discuss the antecedents, what happened before the behavioral took place, and what were the triggers. The next thing you need to look is what was the consequence that immediately followed a behavioral of interest. So where does the behavior occur? When does the behavior occur? With whom does it occur? And so on. There's more questions. The next thing is, and what was the response for the behavioral? Was it a consequence that happened to the person immediately following the behavioral? So when you review the IEP plan under the parents section, you might want to ask them, up to you, to write how you want to be communicated moving forward about your child's behavioral and how. Example, do you want daily data? information on his behaviorals. Do you want it weekly? Do you want it monthly? And how do you want it? Do you want it through email, text, communication log, or through the student portal? It depends. If you have a job, if you're a nurse and you're busy, you may not have access to all these things all day long, maybe a text. And also you want to have this information because if you work in with private mental health providers, of course, you want to be sharing that information with them as well, so they can better serve your child. So in summary, if you get a call and to pick up your child, it should be documented through school records as happening illness, injury, or a suspension. Either way. Calling to pick up the child is by no means an intervention. Actually, removals are more harmful than good to loss of learning time and the loss of their related services that they so much need. Schools cannot give you conditions of attendance. They cannot give you conditions of attendance or even mention or suggest the use of medications for your child. Research has shown when it comes to education, attendance is essential to success. So pulling students out of the classroom, sometimes they're sent to the front office and sit there all day. So they're losing educational time, or in school in general is not good. In my opinion, it's a waste of valuable instructional time. So remember, if this becomes a pattern, document each situation, sign them out if you choose to, and state the reason. Who is the administrative staff that asks to call, for you to pick up your child? And you need to follow up with an email to the person that gave the directive to have the child picked up. And especially if it was without a suspension, because what they call it cool off time, or if the child was not sick or injured, you want this email to be added to the student record. So if they retaliate for not picking up your child from school, it will be time to call administration staff at your local district office. You may request a special ed director, have a sit down with them, or even invite them to the meeting. And you might want to check out with the district psychologist, since that individual can apply expertise in mental health, learning, and behavioral, and also to help the children and the youth succeed academically, socially, behaviorally, and emotionally. And if that fails, well, you can always file a complaint with the Louisiana Department of Ed or the Office of Civil Rights, but do not allow this school behavior to continue. So that is for today. Until the next chat. Thank you for joining us. Remember to fill out your evaluation, and Sharon will be emailing you some resources of interest. I put together the Dear Colleague letter. You really need to read this on the implementation of IDEA discipline provisions. That was just revised last year, July 19, 2022. Also, you need to read up on if your child has a 504 plan, supporting students with disabilities and avoiding discrimination, use of student discipline under 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And if you want to know about Louisiana school attendance, we're also giving you a link to that. If you need to file a complaint with the State Department of Ed, we're giving you the link to the dispute resolution for students with exceptionalities. And also, if your child, again, has a 504 plan, you have the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights in Dallas, Texas. And this is for civil rights on discrimination and civil rights violations. So thanks again for joining us. Be sure to educate yourself in order to advocate for your child's mental health and their future. Sharon, do you have anything to add?
I do, just for a moment. That does actually go along with a webinar that we have coming up in June. It's June 20th, and it's called "So Your Child is Suspended, Now What?" So that is going to be presented by 3 staff attorneys from the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's going to be really good, June 20th at 11 a.m. So keep that in your mind to sign up for that one when the registration comes up. Also, I've dropped the link for your evaluation in the chat box. The format of today's training is a 15-minute coffee break. We think everybody can do 15-minute coffee break, we hope. So we are dead on 15 minutes right now, but if you can click on the link for me, that would be great. I hope to see you again very soon at another training. If you have any questions, I'm going to be sending out an email this afternoon with the links that Laura shared and with some notes from today's presentation since it was so short. If you have any questions about this in particular, please direct them to myself or to Laura, and we will be happy to get you information that you need. We don't have time for questions today with the 15-minute parameter, but thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to sign off and I'll leave the screen up for a bit till you finish your evaluations. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.